Good evening. It's Scotty from Xenium Real Wealth, and tonight we are doing our July 2019 opportunities update. So last week we did our market update, what's going on in the property markets in July 2019, and tonight is the opportunities we found in the past month that line up with the property cycle. And so that's what we're looking at tonight. All right, so we will get straight into it. If you want to ask some questions, there's a question bar at the side. Make sure you jump on and type away, and we'll answer them as we go or at the end, whatever it is needs to do. All right, so July 2019 opportunities. We'll just quickly rehash the property clock. We covered that last week. So this is the HTW one that comes out every month. And just as a reminder, we've got the peak of the market, declining, bottom of the market, and the rising market there on the left. So we've been working pretty hard. We've got some options in a lot of those types of markets around the country to talk about this evening. So we're going to go and do that now. So the first slide we got here is we want to remind ourselves what it's like with our Xenium Action Compass. So what we did was we specifically got the colors, right? So remember that. So we've got blue, green, and red. We've got some khaki and other bits and pieces, aqua. That'll come important when you see the property opportunities that we're presenting this evening, because we will call them a red opportunity or a blue or a green or whatever. And that'll relate to the compass here. But you'll see as we go forward that there's some compasses on each page, so you can remember what those colors mean. All right, so discounted buying or blue property. So back on the HCW clock, there was in this area was Gold Coast, Coffs Harbour, Newcastle, that sort of thing on the top, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock on the HTW data there for this month. And those are the suburbs that we've been looking in. This is an example of something that we found down at Labrador on the Gold Coast. Already it was 830,000, I should say. It's now listed at offers over 730, but hey, I'd start with a 6 in the front. It'd rent for around about 680, maybe a little bit more. It's already sitting at a 12.5% discount off list price in, I think it's about 3 or 4 months it's been on the market. And it's in an okay area, right? Like it's 4 blocks from the beach. Not particularly right in the smack bang of investment property value, but it's close. You're getting down there to those 6s. That is kind of investment property pricing. This would be a buy with potential to ride the market and uplift. So if you were looking for a buy and hold type of thing, this is the type of property that you look at buying, because it's definitely not at the top of the market. Okay, so that's important to remember. So this one here, we just sort of chuck that in, and that sits over there in that blue section, right over there for the Gold Coast and Coffs and Newcastle area, as HTW told us this month. All right, positive cash flow or green. Well, there's a reason we made it green for positive cash flow. We love the green. In the positive cash flow section and the green market is down the bottom. HTW is saying Brisbane, Ipswich, and a few of those areas. This property here is in the Ipswich corridor, which is in Queensland. So it's a 5-bed, 3-bath, 2 garage. It's a dual key dwelling. So there'll be a door there at the front. There'll be another door, I think it's around one of the sides, for the secondary dwelling to enter. This property is smack bang in the right area of the market cycle. It is at the low point. So that's where we go and chase positive cash flow and get ready to ride the wave upward, and then possibly sell it in, say, 12, 18, 24 months, or keep it if you like it. Doesn't really matter, right? That's your choice. But this is why we buy this way. This is to be constructed. It's brand new. So there's some economies there with pricing. The price is $542. As I said, it's in Crestmead. We're looking at an average there of a 6.4% rent return. So it is for cash flow. So we've got the front door there with the garage, and all that side is the normal house. And then on the right, on the left-hand side, we've got our single garage with the secondary dwelling down there and the entry door off there. So that's how that style of property works. But as you can see, it's an absolute renter. I mean, 6.5% rent. That's pretty good. You get some of the new advantages and other bits and pieces, but that's by the by. Don't buy for tax. That's just an advantage. You buy for the cash return on this, and with the fact that it's at the bottom of the market, with looking to move out to the next phase. All right, emerging markets. So emerging markets are this area over here, the khaki colour. It's where it's come from the bottom and it's starting on a move upward, right? And HTW had mentioned one of the suburbs they mentioned this month to keep an eye out on is Mackay. And Mackay has been hit really hard over the past probably 36 months with some mining, closing and changing, moving around, all that sort of stuff. There was an oversupply of stock that has now dried up, and now it's kind of hit the bottom of the market and starting to move around with shorter times on market and higher rents and things like that. We have secured some turnkey house and land packages in this market, and so what that means is we've managed to get the land really cheap, and we've got up to 4 packages we can do, which gets us that economies of scale for like group buying. So there is 4 of these available currently, and that's it. The strategy behind this would be to buy the property, do the construction, have a 12-month plan as a minimum, reassess the market in 12 months' time. If the Mackay market has moved to a satisfactory amount, then you could choose to exit or ride the wave, keep it as a buy and hold if you want. But a lot of the properties that we talk about, they're very active. So they're not a 3-month program, but it could be a 12-month sort of deal. And that's the sort of thing that we look at to constantly keep your money cycling around and doing deals and making money off your money and that sort of thing. So this, the figures are here. So we've got 460 turnkey. The current sale price is just under 500. The data is telling us it's going to scrape over a $500,000 value in the next 12 months. So probably something to a 515-ish. And there's about 10% immediate equity in that property now. So it goes to about a 10, 12.5, I think, percent equity position if we get up to that 515, and it's almost 15% when we start going above 520. Will it get there? I don't know. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen on the market, how much land is going to come on, that sort of thing. But the Mackay market itself has been pegged by multiple sources as in recovery mode, and prices are on the move upward. So that is the time to buy it, not after prices have moved, but before. All right. Red zones or creating property. So this is a residential subdivision in Brisbane. So Brisbane is still in that section of the market where we're over here on this side of the compass. So we can definitely go in and create some real wealth. This is a residential subdivision. It's a 7-lot subdivision. There's an existing house that's on this site that we're keeping. This is up to stage 2, what the developer calls stage 2 funding now. So stage 1 is they've settled on the site and they've gone to DA, and stage 2 is when the DA comes out and they have to do civil works. So there's an opportunity to partner with the developer here and participate in this development. They're offering some pretty good returns and that sort of thing. And not only that, it's a good site. It's walkable to all the local shops, like Coles, the tavern, which is obviously very important. If you live in Queensland, you've got to be able to walk to a tavern. There's childcare. The existing house is currently rented, so it has a holding income while the DA is being processed by Brisbane City Council, which is underway now. So the time risk on this project, a lot of it is gone. It's already, say, 8 months in to this project where they've done that initial purchase of the project, got it tenanted, got the DA put in, that sort of thing. So this project now is getting to, the less risky time where the DA comes out and construction starts and sales start. So there's a lot of that time and unknown risk is being mitigated as this project has moved forward, and that's the position this is in now. There's still a position for about 3 or 4 people to get into this project. That's all the developers wanting. They're looking at about a 12-month time frame from now. So the DA will come out, they'll go straight to civil works and then sales after that. So the original house will get sold, the new blocks will get sold, and the whole site will get exited. That is the concept on this residential subdivision in a leafy suburb of Brisbane. If you're interested in that, let us know as well on our email, and we'll put you in touch with who you need to talk to on that opportunity. All right, the second red opportunity here is coming up, but firstly we'll just go through this FISO because they look the same. This is the FISO on that residential one. Sorry, I missed that. And that's just the figures there. So you can, when you get the recording, you can stop this and look through it. That's all the figures, and you can see where they're up to, and everything's mapped out. And we've got our house being sold and lands and that sort of thing. All there, you can see it's a healthy project based on those figures. All right, commercial development. So this is our second red property for the evening. This one is something that is about to be secured. It didn't come out, that's sort of very clearly there. The cash required for the developer on this is 1.5 million. It's sitting a little over 30% on its return, so it's super healthy. The time frame for this project would be 12 months, being commercial. So with commercial, it's a little bit different. They don't need DAs if you're buying in a commercial area. It's already zoned for that sort of thing. You just need an operational works permit to do the construction. And so the concept on this would be probably 15 to 16 what I'd call large man cave sheds. So they're not the lock-up storage sheds with the little roller doors that you think it's a 6x3 garage. No, it's not 18 square metres. We're looking at between 140 and 160 square metres per shed. So there's things that people use to store large boats, or tradies use for their equipment, so they drop off, or even their office. There they have a mezzanine, they can have an office, they load all their equipment in or run their team out of it, and they leave it all there, locked up at night, and go home and don't have things pitched off their trailer or utes. It's those sorts of things. People are buying them to put cars in, like collectible cars, boats, jet skis, whatever it is. They're very, very generic looking large tilt slab sheds, and that's the building process. So concrete, lift it up, away they go. It's a very simple building process. It's a fairly quick building process, and as I said, you're not have the hindrance of some of those waiting for DA processes that you get with a residential land subdivision. So this commercial development is in an emerging area that is very, very popular, and it's actually really hard to get commercial land in this area because they hold it very, very tight. So as I said, total cost there is almost just under 3.5 million. Cash required about 1.5. Total sales of 4.7. So there's a gross margin on that of 1.2. So that's a healthy enough project there to start looking into, and it's commercial. So it goes in, done in 12 months and out. So it's a very, very quick project, and, you know, not emotional, right? Like, you don't have residential, what am I going to build on this as a house and this and that. I think you need to do both. That's why we do both at once. We always try and present you a residential and a commercial as we go forward. So it gives you options and also spreads your choices around. So that's the commercial. If you want to know more about that, hit us up. All right, bonus property. All right, yes. So every now and then we get to throw in a bonus property on these evenings. And the bonus property today is actually on the Sunshine Coast. Now, the reason we hummed and hawed about this property was because HTW tell us the Sunshine Coast is the peak of the market, and I probably wouldn't disagree. I think they're probably fairly right on that. So why on earth are we showing you a property that's at the peak of the market? Well, because just because something's at the peak of the market doesn't mean that it's about to go and drop afterwards. It just means that there's a lot of activity, some pricing is high in comparison to what it has been, and the other data that supports HTW's take on the market in that area. The reason that we looked at this property and we've decided that we're going to present it to you this evening is it all comes back to the figures, right? So I'm not saying we're trading against our charts here. I am putting that disclaimer right up front guys, this is almost an out of cycle investment. However, we are at peak of the market, and because we're peak of the market, this property would be looked at as a project. We'd be looking to flip it over in 12 months' time for you as a client. And here's the figures. We're looking at just under 700,000, or about 700,000 once we strata title for a duplex. Okay, that's turnkey, constructed, all done. The individual sale, there's a big variance there, but we're going, that's real conservative. Like, there's worse areas that are getting that sort of price of 410. We've been quoted anything up to mid fours, so I'm going mid to low fours there. There is $100,000 in the construction of this duplex over a 12-month period. Now, I call it 12 months because there's a bunch of reasons around that. Firstly, you don't want to stress yourself out trying to do it in 2 months. Secondly, there can be weather delays. Thirdly, the length of time you hold it, if it's over 12 months, there could be some discounts depending on the structure, etc., for your tax. So we sort of say 12-month project, and that way you're not putting unrealistic parameters on yourself. This property here is a great deal. I mean, you could choose to keep one, sell one, keep both, sell both, whatever it might be. This property here should generate you $100,000 at end sale price, fairly conservatively in that time period. Now, and that's why it made our presentation tonight. Yes, Sunshine Coast is top of the market. Because it is top of the market, we've managed to get this duplex at the right price. It means that the end sales figures on those duplexes are so strong. That's each. So we're looking at something like an 8 to an 840, sort of 850 sale price on a $700,000 build. Like, you do the math, okay? That's why it made it. So it's our bonus property for July is duplexing on the Sunshine Coast with some serious uplift in 12-month process. All right. I think that is probably about it for the evening. We record these so you can go back through, you can watch it again, you get to hear my voice. How good is that? And also so that you can actually look at some of the data on the screen and see the pictures and all that sort of stuff. And you can watch it again muted, okay? You get the idea. The questions come through is there a minimum amount to join Bell Bowery project? Those development projects are very much driven by the developer themselves. They have a preference for $100,000 amounts going into those projects for those returns, because those projects those developers are offering 14%, sometimes 18%, depends on the project. And so obviously it has to be worth your while to go in it. I have seen developers accept $50,000, but anything below that is probably a little bit small because it just means there's too many people for them to handle on each project. And the simple fact is that they don't need a whole heap more to get those projects to completion time now. So Bell Bowery, the residential subdivision, probably only needs about another $400,000 to $500,000, and stage 2, and that thing's put to bed. So they're pretty close on that one. So what are the expected returns as investor in resi and commercial projects? Yeah, so it depends on the risk loading. So there's stage 1 and stage 2 funding on residential projects. So stage 1 pays a higher return before DA, and stage 2 after DA, the developers generally pay a lower return because it's more of a known quantity. So that early stage funding can be around that 18% before they get the DA. After they get the DA and it's known, then it probably drops more to the 14% mark on your money, which, hey, you're going to complain about that? I don't think so. Commercial is probably in between, okay? It's probably what sits around that 16% on your money, and that's what most developers we deal with are offering that at the moment. And that's to get in, because it's a quicker time frame, that process is kind of squeezed. So we don't have those long lag times waiting for DA. So they kind of, I guess, average the return and say, well, we don't have a DA, we're still going to get something done, but we're going to get done in 12 months, and bang, there we go. We'll give you 16% for the year. So that's how that works there. Both, as I said, both very valid projects, both very interesting, and both good opportunities if you want to get your capital being churned around and used. The strategy at Xenium is you start with some capital and you don't tie it up in property long term, right? You use that capital to make more money, and then you invest your returns into discounted properties, buy and hold. Okay, so that way you still got your original capital component left to go and do more projects and more activity or more duplexes or whatever it is you got left there to do it. And that's why it's an active process. If you just, the issue is if you come and you do a buy and hold, then you're locking that money away for a set period of time. So if you've saved up or you've got equity, you got $200,000 and you place it in there in a buy and hold, what are you going to do? You got to wait for the market. Well, you can wait for the market. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. Okay. With Xenium, we very much make our own markets, and you're the director of your own outcomes. So instead of doing a duplex here that you just do a buy and hold, let's do a duplex where we make some money on it. So you put your money in for the duplex. On this one, say it'd be 700,000. So you might need, say, 150,000 to go and do this project. And if you can come out with another $100,000 in 12 months' time, all of a sudden you got tax and stuff to pay, and you're 100. I get that, but you've got to 250. Then you put 150 in, you come out with 250. You pay your tax on the 100. You've got some money left to then go, right, well, I'm going to use that original 150 and go and do something else. And I've still got that original capital that's there. I can cycle that around and I can go and make some more money. And that 75 I've made after tax, that might be, okay, well, we'll go and do a buy and hold on that. But I'm going to get Xenium to find us a discounted property to put that 75,000 into, because why would I ever buy at full price? It's exactly right. Why would you buy and hold at full price? And that's the process of Xenium. You come in, you cycle, you make your money, you invest your returns, you keep your core. You can top up your core if you want to do more, but that's the process. You're constantly building, using that monetary base as a tool to do that. That's a good question. All right, if there's any other questions there. You got any more questions, Jason? Are we done for the evening? All right, that's good. So this is our July 2019 Property Opportunities update. So have a look back through something you like, hit us up at Xenium and we'll be able to sort you out. This recording will go out to all our Xenium members the day after, about 12 to 18 hours after the night recording. So we always record on a Thursday night. So this will be out to you by lunchtime Friday. So keep an eye out for that. Some great weekend viewing, no doubt, for you this weekend. 23 minutes of fun. All right, that's it. Scotty from Xenium Real Wealth. Till next Thursday night, we'll have a big in-depth Q&A about the market, about the opportunity. So bring your questions and we'll discuss them in depth then. And that's it from us this evening. Thanks for joining in.